I'm Brian Winnekins. We are at the NAFB convention in Kansas City, and thank you to our broadcast sponsors, including DeKalb Asgrow Seeds, also Mycogen Seeds, the Wisconsin Farm Bureau Federation, and the Wisconsin Corn Growers Association. I'm with Kevin Skunes. He's with the National Corn Growers Association. He's president, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things going on with corn. And Kevin, again, thank you for joining us today. Well, first, let's talk a little bit about ethanol and the RFS. And it's actually kind of been playing into with Secretary Northey's nomination at USDA being held up. You have to be kind of a little frustrated with that.
We certainly are. We'd love to get Bill Northey in place. He'd be a benefit, but the ethanol issue has become kind of quite a talking point lately, and we wish that would get resolved because we know that the RFS works in its whole. We know that Secretary Pruitt or Administrator Pruitt, met with some Midwestern senators, sent a letter with some assures on the RFS with the renewable volume obligation numbers, that they would be at the stated or above, and we think that's good certainty for the ethanol industry, absolutely. One other thing that we need to get done with the ethanol industry is to get the reed vapor pressure issue fixed. If we could get that so all of the stations could sell E15 all summer long instead of having to not sell it through the black hose from June 15th through September, it would be a huge issue for ethanol.
Initially with ethanol, especially with E85, we saw a big push initially. We saw even the manufacturers, the automobile manufacturers, doing a lot of E85 type of vehicles. It seems like, at least to me, it's kind of lost some momentum. Why is that?
Well, I think E85 has had its problems over the years because, buyers, they probably buy gasoline for price, and they probably cannot see, even with the price difference, they can't see the benefit. But we believe that, E15 and maybe even a little bit higher blends, if the autos need maybe the E25 for their octane, for the new engines, we kind of think that's probably the way to go. We've been putting a lot of money into infrastructure for E15, and if we could get, like I said, the reed vapor pressure thing fixed, it would solve that a lot.
Talking with Kevin Skunes, he's the president of the National Corn Growers Association. Obviously, they're talking now in D.C. about the Farm Bill, and what would the Corn Growers Association like to see in that Farm Bill? Well,
we'd certainly like to see it, hit the floor in December. We need to start discussing it on the floors of Congress. We assume that the new Farm Bill will look, quite a bit like the Farm Bill we're working with right now. There, of course, needs to be some fixes in the ARC and PLC program. We had some problems with the NAS yields, and I just want to mention right now to have all of the farmers, we're still using the NAS data. Please fill out your surveys. That's very important because if not enough surveys are filled out in the county, they don't get anything published. So we think that the program will probably look a lot alike. We know that, like I just said, we'll deal with the NAS or the yield portion of it. Whether we go with RMA, Senator Heidi Heidkamp and Joni Ernst have a bill going that they would probably use RMA data. That could be an avenue to go. Unless NAS steps up and really does a little better job with their surveys, we know that they have to update some of the farmers. Probably going forward, we know that the Farm Bill has to include a very robust crop insurance program because that's probably our number one priority when we polled states this last year about what they wanted to see in a Farm Bill, because the crop insurance is so very important for all of the weather disasters. And it's really important, in these days of low commodity prices, for bankers to know that they can, have the operating notes for all these people so they can operate, because that gives the assurity. So,
an interesting time in D.C. to say the least, and then we also have trade to deal with as well, which has also been a very big concern for corn growers, especially NAFTA.
Absolutely, NAFTA is a huge deal for us. Of course, Mexico over the last 23 years has become our number one importer of corn. And now I understand that in the latest meetings, Mexico has said that the U.S. is now not their preferred exporter of choice, and that's really disturbing, because any market that we lose, any market share that we lose to a country like this, we know that we'll probably never get back. So these NAFTA discussions, along with the KORUS, the Korean Free Trade Agreement, they're so important because we need an even playing field to play on. We know that growing profitable demand absolutely helps even in the farm bill discussion, because we know that the farmers would much rather get our income, from the market rather than relying on federal programs.
Well, Kevin, again, we appreciate you joining us. That's Kevin Skunes. He's president of the National Corn Growers Association. From the National Association of Farm Broadcasting Convention in Kansas City, I'm Brian Winnikins for Real Country 1430 WRDN.